Guys, it is time to talk about the stereotype that is holding Magic the Gathering back. Now, this is a video that I've wanted to make for a while, but I've held back because I know, it's very controversial. It's going to upset some people. But a recent experience of mine has really just pushed me over the edge to make this video. It's something that I am quite passionate about. And, I want to talk about it and just let the cards fall as they may. And, if you guys hate me, then it is what it is. So I'm going to start by telling my little story. So recently, me and my sister went to a new LGS because we wanted to expand our playgroup. This one was close to hers because usually when I go to an LGS, it's one near me. She doesn't have access to it. So it's just how it is. She was getting a bit disappointed with not being able to play sometimes. So I said, hey, let's try out an LGS near you. There was only one really that was an option. So yeah, we went down there last weekend to check it out, and this was our experience. So we walked into this little shop. We told them that we've come here for the Commander Day. They basically told us to scan the QR code for Companion and then showed us downstairs where it was like this little basement room. We walked down there, and in the room there was about 7, I think. Yeah, or maybe no, 6 people that were in this room. And I'll just say it right now. Every single person in this room fit into the negative stereotypes that you would think of when it comes to a Magic the Gathering player. When we walked in, they all looked at us. Only one made the effort to actually talk to us and welcome us, and I do really, really appreciate him for that. But overall, when I walked into this room, I did not ultimately feel welcome. When we sat down and we started playing a game, the guy that we was playing with was nice enough, but again, he was extremely quiet. It was very quite hard to hear him when he spoke. Again, just a lot of the negative stereotypes that you would assume with these Magic players, and it was not nice. I did not feel comfortable in this environment, and even though I love playing Magic, so I still had a relatively good time because I'm always having fun when I'm playing Magic. When I left, I had no desire to go back there, and I don't think that I'm the only person that has ever walked into that store and felt that. And that made me reflect on 2 things. 1, why does Magic the Gathering attract this kind of player? And 2, is this stereotype holding Magic back? So let's talk about these things. So first, let's talk about the negative stereotype of a Magic the Gathering player. I mean, you guys don't really need me to point this out. You guys know, right? Bad hygiene, badly dressed, socially awkward, probably don't have much social interaction going on outside of the game. Even quite gatekeepy, because they're maybe suffering in other aspects of their life, they feel like they can sort of, bring their superiority of their knowledge of Magic over new players, and that makes them feel good in some sort of way. It sounds horrible, but I have ran into these players, I'm sure you guys have as well, where they can't wait to make a little comment every time something happens to show their knowledge of the game, and critiquing you when you're doing stuff, and you just want to, it's bloody annoying. And it's just guy, I get it, you're insecure, just shut the hell up. And whether we like it or not, these negative stereotypes push players away, okay? I can think of another experience where I was with my girlfriend at the time. We walked into a game store, right? I wasn't going in there to play, but I was in the area and I wanted to just go and have a little look. And I was with her at the time doing some other unrelated stuff. I walked in there. We was in there for about 5 minutes, and immediately she's sitting there gagging. She's like, oh my God, what is that smell? Do you know what I mean? And that just made me I'm not the one that stinks, right? But I just felt this unreal amount of shame, and that shouldn't be the case, but I did, because at the end of the day, I'm bringing her into a store that is for this hobby that I play, and these are the people that are playing this hobby, and does that mean, is that a reflection on who I am as a person? Because I am sort of, these people are sort of my people, if that makes sense. It's not nice. And, I couldn't wait to get her out of there, and almost had to feel almost the need to apologize. I didn't apologize, I don't think, but I was just sort of it's really unfortunate, but that is kind of, for some reason, these kind of people are attracted to this game. And now there is no doubt that this stereotype is stopping the game from growing, right? I can imagine that there are so many people out there that have felt like they've got curiosity for Magic, they've walked into an LGS and they have just immediately been hit by this wave, this atmosphere, this vibe, right? And everything in their brain is telling them, like, you don't belong here. This is weird. This is not a pleasant place to be. You not really feel welcome. And then those people, they will not come back, you know, because that is their experience of the LGS, you know. And then that becomes, you know, their perspective of Magic the Gathering and what the game is and the sort of people that play it. And I'll just be honest, guys, that upsets me. Now, this isn't about shaming individuals, right? But if we want Magic to grow, then we need to make this game more inviting. So that leads me to the question of, how do we fix this? Okay, so first things first, I think LGSs should have like welcome nights, you know, should have events specifically for new players. And in these events, more established players should have the opportunity to, you know, come and help new players if they want to expand their community, their game. These people naturally are probably going to be, you know, have better social skills because they want to interact with people. They want to, you know, help new players. Hopefully this doesn't attract people that just want to prey on new players. I think you might get the odd one, but I don't think that would be the priority, right? I think it would be people that genuinely want to bring more people into this hobby, so they are going to be more pleasant. So I think that would be really, really good, because then people can go to an LGS. They know that they're going to be playing with people that are around their level, right? I think of like when I dance, right? So if you guys wouldn't know this, but I've done like a lot of like partner dancing, specifically bachata in the past. And when I used to dance, what would happen is that you go there and then all of the dancers get split into levels of experience, right? So you're not dancing with people that are just crazy out of your experience, so that those those dancers are not getting bored, and you're dancing with people around your level. You're not too intimidated, and it feels nice, you know? And I think that should be the same thing for Magic. There should be an environment where new players can play with other new players, and they don't have to worry about being judged by, you know, this person who's been playing for like 10 years. Like, no joke, like this guy that I was referring to earlier about making a comment, like I remember I accidentally did something and he literally sniggered and was like, ugh, I'm playing with rookies, you know? It was like it was not good. So beginners should be able to not have to experience that. Let's be honest. So another thing is, I just think social kind of mixing should be encouraged. You know, cliquey stuff where people just stay in their groups needs to be discouraged. How you would do that, I don't know. I think it just comes kind of with a culture, right? There needs to be some leading people that are doing it. Like when we went to this other one, it was so obvious that it was just these few people. They're the same people that come every week. And yeah, if that's your case, right, and you see someone come in that's brand new, you should make a conscious effort to be like, hey man, we're just doing this game now, but as soon as we're done, let's play a game, and make sure that they are getting a good first experience, because that is so important, right? Because that is going to dictate whether that person comes back again, whether you're going to have someone else in your community and someone else that maybe even a new friend, you know? Hygiene and etiquette reminders. Guys, this should just be in every LGS. It should, because it's a problem, let's be honest, in most LGSs, right? There should be signs or something, but I don't think this is going to necessarily fix the problem. I think a lot of this is a culture issue. Like if people come into this space and they feel like it's acceptable for them to do so, then they will. So I think this really comes down to owners, right? Like I feel like LGS owners need to be like, hey, pull them aside and be like, look, it's a difficult conversation. I understand it. How do you pull someone aside and tell them that they smell? You know, like it's uncomfortable. But I just think if you're an LGS owner, it's just something you need to come to terms with. Like it needs to be done. As players, me personally, I'm not playing with someone that I can smell their asshole. You know, like I'm not playing with that person. I will make some sort of excuse. Maybe I'd even be honest and be like, sorry, but something really stinks around here. I don't know. It's hard, right? It's hard. In some cases, I feel like I'd be directly honest, but in other cases, maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'd just be like, I would just take note, and I'm like, I'm not playing with this person ever again. And then if that continues, then that person will maybe get the hint. But he might just think that no one wants to play with him. So I think someone needs to say it, right? And these people probably don't have people in their lives that are pointing these out. So I don't know. It's a complicated issue. This video isn't necessarily me coming up with all the solutions. It's just a discussion. Maybe you guys have some better ideas in the comments. So another thing as well is I just think in general, LGSs are just, a lot of the time they have this culture, right? And it all starts because it's like an echo chamber, right? So if the first people that come into this LGS are like this way inclined, and they fit these negative stereotypes, it means that they're the founding people. The only people that stay are people that fit into that mold, and that's how you create this culture. So the only way to break that is to start a new group where the founding people are not fit into this negative stereotypes, so that when new people come in, it's more likely that people that are feel more comfortable with like that initial group is going to expand, and that play base is going to grow with more people like that. So if you're watching this video and you feel like you don't fit into this negative stereotype and you're quite passionate about this issue, maybe you try host an event in your area, specifically away from LGSs, right? I think Magic should be played out of LGSs because, again, that culture is there. I think it's very hard to fix. So instead of just starting at LGS, just hosting a little, maybe like a meetup group, you know, whether it is in a board game caf. I really like board game cafs because they're still like nerdy, but they're not too much. You know, you get a lot of normal people there, people that are just there on dates. You know, it's nice. It's nice. So why not? Maybe, I mean, I've even been thinking, I've got one near me, it doesn't have a Magic community. I might start one. Who knows? So yeah, you got pubs, bars, and stuff like that as well that you could play at. I think just taking it out of the LGS is probably a good idea. Just normalize it a little bit instead of it being like you have to go to this specific nerd sanctuary in order to play this game. Ultimately, the best way to make a change is to be the example, right? So just show people that Magic the Gathering is not just filled with these negative stereotypes. Be everything but the negative stereotype, right? So you can show people and, you know, you can be that example. And then when people hear that you play Magic, if they see that you don't fit that negative stereotype, you are one more contribution to dispelling that myth, because it is a myth. Not every Magic the Gathering player is that negative stereotype, but that stereotype comes from somewhere, and it is a very, very real problem. If you don't believe that, go to a Magicon. You will find out very quickly. Now, guys, if you like this sort of discussion video, then why don't you go check out my Why I'm Going All In on Tarkir Dragonstorm video.